I barely know how to verbalize what I have just witnessed. I think William Shakespeare himself could write down or sit down to write one of his great plays, and he wouldn't find the words to describe the sheer joy and emotion that this football club, Aston Villa, have brought to my life this season. I sort of feel like I just want to cry tears and stare into the camera for 10 minutes and let you all feel what it is to see this. I sort of want to sit here kind of for 10 hours, you know, just looking up at the sky, looking up at the stars, just smoke a cigarette, drink a little whiskey, look up at the constellations and make out the shape of Professor Unai Emery marshalling the troops on the pitch. Look up and see Ollie Watkins holding the ball up. See Morgan Rogers turning and making a pass. See Leon Bailey being the most electrifying player, the most electric attacking player in world football today. See Moussa Diaby just doing special things. I cannot believe this is what Aston Villa are now. In fact, I can believe it because from the very dawn of time on this podcast, right? For those who are new to it and for those who've been listening for a long time, I have been saying for years we have got to look at Atletico Madrid and Tottenham Hotspur as two clubs who for years were laughed at, but actually were always big, could have made a breakthrough, and eventually they found the right manager, the right players, it all came together and they made the breakthrough. And Atletico Madrid went on and won things. Spurs almost did. They both made Champions League finals. They both regularly compete in the Champions League. Aston Villa, I believe, have always been a team that could do that, despite what the doubters have said, right? Despite when our old manager said Chelsea should come here and absolutely wipe the floor with us. Or another pundit said, Villa will never be that big. Villa will never be up there. Really? You think? Well, 10 years ago, you'd have said the same about Atletico Madrid and Tottenham, and they made it. Villa can do it. And we're doing it right now. It's like the team. It's like at the end of a movie when the hero who's got all the wounds and you think he's down and out, you think he's going to, the light, he's walking towards the light and he's got up and he stood up and he's pulled the arrow out and he said, bring it, just bring it. I mean, sensational. A week and a half ago, we played Lille, right? A top quality team, a Champions League team with some brilliant players, really super well coached team. I think look like a Champions League team, not Europa League, Champions League. I think they're probably the best team in the Conference League, and we beat them. Villa and Lille, two best teams, I think, and we beat them. 2-1 at home. Fantastic. Really hard fought. They didn't stop sprinting all game. They had 2 weeks bloody break from the French League, and we beat them. 3 days later, we go to Arsenal away. Arsenal could win the Premier League. They're top of the league. They might be the best team in the country at the moment, between them and City. And what happens? We go up there and we absolutely bossed it. And I've been walking around the Arsenal area I live in all week with the Villa top. The amount of people who come up to me and said, mate, you ruined my week. Right? Well, long may it continue. Aston Villa are here to ruin weeks and empty stadiums in the 80th minute. 4 days later, we go away to Lille, a hostile atmosphere. We play 90 minutes. We go 2-0 down, but we fought until the end. We found a way, like the Manchester United Alex Ferguson team of old. We found a way right late at the death, got back into it. We endured 30 minutes of extra time. We endured all the emotion and drama of a penalty shootout, and we got through. We won, right? And the trick is then, how on earth, 3 days later, do you follow that up then? Having played all that football, on top of all the football we played this season, how do you follow that up against one of the hardest pressing football teams in the Premier League, a supremely well-coached side, and a supremely top quality team who should be in the top half of the Premier League in Bournemouth, with some brilliant attacking players? How do you deal with that, right? And Aston Villa turned up today and with a threadbare squad, with a load of injuries, with a load of players missing. Well, Luis is missing through suspension. And what did we do? We just set the standard. We were calm. We were composed. We were great at passing around at the back. We didn't really make mistakes. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a sec. And what did I notice was happening all the time? Bournemouth with four at the back, two in the middle, four at the front. And when Bournemouth got the ball and tried to play it forward, we crowded the centre, right? So there wasn't really a lot to play through the centre for them. And so they were having to go out wide to their players, trying to run in behind or run down the wings, right? And so on top of that, what would happen is when Villa got the ball, we were not afraid, through Emi Martinez a lot of the time, to just go direct. Or through, say, John McGinn, who I thought was supremely good in the first half, to just play balls from deep that broke the Bournemouth lines. And to believe in Ollie Watkins and Morgan Rogers to be two players who will win the key duels with their backs to goal. The hold-up play from those two players today was absolutely sensational. Ollie Watkins is the Premier League player of the season. There ain't anybody who's going to make me reconsider that. He is the Premier League player of the season. 2 more assists today. He could end up being the top scorer and the top assist maker in the Premier League this season. And if he doesn't get there, he's going to be close to both of them anyway. He's the best player in the Premier League this season. And if he doesn't get Player of the Season award, I'm going to walk straight to FA headquarters and I'm going to march right in there, put my fist on the table and demand to speak to the manager, whoever that is, whoever's in charge. And security will leave me out and I'll be screaming, "You don't know what you've done. This is a miscarriage of justice." And I'll be thrown in the slammer, for a night to think about what I've done. And I'll come out and say, "Well, look, I don't regret a thing because Ollie Watkins bloody deserved Player of the Season, you fools. Back in the slammer for me. I'll take it. I'll take it." This is just magical. This is magic. This is David Copperfield bloody magic. It's David Blaine. It's bloody Gandalf. It's Professor Unai Emery and the wizard Austin McPhee and Paco Esteran and like the hold-up play from Ollie Watkins and Morgan Rogers today was absolutely sensational. And Zabani, the centre-back, could not deal with Ollie Watkins. The physical brutishness of Ollie Watkins and then the quality on the ball to turn his man, find a pass. It's the hardest job on the football pitch. Trust me when I say that. I've played in a lot of positions in football and I played at some decent standards when I was younger, right? And I always thought playing with my back to goal was fucking impossible. I was garbage at it. And it was just you have to have such ability to do it. And watching these players do it, watching Watkins do it and improve at it ever since he's been at Villa, right? Sensational. Just says, and Morgan Rogers is the heir to Ollie Watkins, right? I think Morgan Rogers is going to end up as a striker. I think he's going to end up scoring loads of goals up front. And I actually think he might even, at his age, be better than Watkins was at holding the ball up. His ability to fight a player off, his ability to then find the vision he has to find a pass for that second goal, for instance, that ball he played through to Watkins. Because every time he gets the ball, I think he's going to make the right pass. I think he's going to make the right weight of pass. And I think when I saw him against Wolves a few weeks ago, there were moments when he didn't release the ball early enough, right? And there were times today he maybe didn't release the ball earlier, but he was better at it today than he was against Wolves. So that shows, again, the rapid improvement of this player since he came up from the Championship into the Premier League, into Europe. He looks like an absolute sensation. 8 million quid. I mean, there's a podcast out there, right? I won't name names, who said that Aston Villa had the pants pulled down signing Morgan Rogers, pants pulled down signing for 8 million quid. I mean, I hope that continues. I hope we continue to be burgled by the Championship because quite clearly Monchi and Unai Emery and the scouting department at Aston Villa know what the fecking hell they're doing. So maybe I should listen to them, and not just somebody who may have half watched Morgan Rogers and thought, nah. He had one bad game against Bristol. Sometimes you've got to be around the right players. And Morgan Rogers today, the way he was able to find that space, he'd come deep like Jacob Ramsey did in that role. He'd come deep and turn. And that the pass he was making, that understanding he's starting to develop with Leon Bailey as well. Some of the interchanges those two had in the second half was magnificent. Michelin star meal. You take your date out, you take your wife out, your husband out, whoever. You take them out on Valentine's Day to that meal, I tell you, and they'll love you forever. They'll accept your proposal. You're right. You'll open the ring and it'll be in the shape of Leon Bailey and Morgan Rogers, smiling. And I'd say yes to that. Sensational. The ability of Rogers to learn so quickly, and I watched him against Lille, right? I was right on his side, right next to the pitch, watching him play. And do you know what he kept doing, right? When Lille had so much of the possession in the first game, this is what he kept doing, looking over at Thiago Santos, top right back. He kept doing this over his constantly, constantly watching where Thiago Santos was, and constantly coming back to help the left back. I think it was Luca Dean. His maturity at that age to not to just listen to Emery. He's been told his defensive job, and he was doing that all the time, always alert, always awake. And then his ability to come deep, to turn, and then to fight off a player, beat a man, turn him inside out. Bournemouth couldn't deal with him, and they got a booking in the first half, and they made a substitution, brought Adam Smith off and put out Max Aarons on because they couldn't deal with Morgan Rogers. I cannot help but think all his attributes, that man is going to one day have a time up front. And I tell you what, going by that goal he scored today, going by the goal he scored against Brentford a couple of weeks ago, that man is going to be a top striker one day. I'm calling it now, the heir to Watkins. But look, the game started. I thought Villa started really well, and I thought Bournemouth started really poorly. I was quite surprised about that. But what Bournemouth were doing, first 10 minutes, not very well. But what they were doing was that press, obviously. It's what they do. And there were a couple of occasions, I think on the side with Konsa and Cash, it felt like they were really pushing on those two. I think there were a couple of hairy moments out there that we just about got away with. On another day, we might not. But generally, this team, we are so good at passing it around at the back that we do get away with it. It's not even like we get away with it. We keep the ball because it's what we're doing. It's what we're good at. And my goodness. But then I think after the 10th minute, there were warning signs, and I kind of thought, there's a couple of balls have played in behind here. There's one or two they've tried to find. Our offside trap worked really well, but there was one time Zielinski got him behind. There was just a couple of occasions there, wingers getting forward, that I thought, I do feel like Bournemouth could get something here. But at the same time, I thought Villa were on the course to get something as well, because I kept thinking, particularly from deep, particularly with John McGinn, we were finding that pass through the lines, getting it forward, and it just felt like we were finding moments, right? And it nearly moments like Diaby's ball across, which Pau Torres didn't quite get to, or Bailey beating a man, pulling it across, and Diaby just missed it. Like a couple of just not quite moments, but you thought, if Villa keep doing this, that nearly moment's going to become a moment, and it's going to happen. But so it kind of was a seesaw. It could have gone either way, I think, for the first goal. And a bit silly, the first goal, wasn't it? I don't know. Diaby shouldn't have gone. Look, it could have been a foul. He did go into the back of him. I still think Diaby should have just played on. He just kind of stopped playing. Silly. Ball gets out wide. I think it was to Cliver, and Cash like diving in a bit rash. And you got to give it to Cash, right? He does have a moment like that in him, but the lad's been off for 3 weeks, injured. So he's just a bit off. He looked a little bit off the pace in the first half against Lille, I thought, which is understandable because you're coming straight back into the team. And even just 3 weeks off, it's difficult to get back into the pace. Trust me, it is. And, a couple of moments today on the ball as well. I feel like Bournemouth really put the pressure on him. It felt like that was where they targeted for the Bournemouth super press, which they have. I think Cash, he struggled a little bit at times, but at the same time, he did really well to get out of pressure as well. But it was a silly dive, and he shouldn't have done it. Penalty, great pen from Solanke. What a top player! He's a top striker, and I think Arsenal should try and sign him. Genuinely, top striker. Then I was quite fearful they were going to get a second. There were just a couple of moments again where I thought, they're finding it, and if they'd got that second, we're in a hard day. But how resilient are this team? You've just played a whole load of football in the last week. You've just played really hard games. Thursday night, you played one of the toughest days out you're going to have in your life as a footballer. And you're 1-0 down at home against the team that presses you relentlessly. And what do? You show cojones because with cojones FC, you show composure. You don't panic. You just keep playing your game and you find a way. And my goodness, Villa took control of the game, I thought. And we had to get a goal soon because in case they got their second, what a sensational goal. All three of them. The first goal coming just before half time, perfect. Moussa Diaby running back and making up for the let's say it, mistake he made for the first goal going down, winning the ball back. Hard work from an attacking player to run back and do that. Getting it to Bailey. And Leon Bailey, how many passes that man made today that were perfectly weighted, perfectly timed. What a sensational pass that was to Morgan Rogers. And what amazing work from Rogers. And you know, when he got the ball there, he's in Watkins territory, right? Sort of territory you want Watkins to have it. But when Rogers got it, I just thought in my head, I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to score because I just felt he had the beating of players today. I felt he had the decision making in him today. And he turns his man in, and what a finish. I want to go turn around and paint it on the wall. I want to paint it on the wall. I want to write Frankie Hart Rogers. I heart the man. And then come out second half, and I've been critical of Villa recently, where between 45 minutes and 60 minutes recently, Villa have tended to get from composed to casual. And that didn't happen today. I wonder if it's partly to do with Tielemans and McGinn in the middle. I think that's a really good balance. I think they've really complemented each other very, very well against both Arsenal and against Bournemouth. Sensational to do this without Douglas Luiz, who's one of the best centre midfielders in world football. Amazing. I think the two of them have been brilliant. And I actually think it was a really well balanced. I prefer McGinn and Tielemans and McGinn and Louise than Tielemans and Louise together. I think McGinn in the centre spot just does that hustle and bustle and the balls from deep. I just prefer him. And I think Tielemans a bit further forward, but further back, he's been brilliant the last two games. He really has. Well, against Lille as well. But look, Sevilla kept going, and then Watkins, that second half from Watkins was just 10 out of 10. Everything but the goal. You know that band, Everything But the Girl? They should go and write a song about it. Everything but the goal. It was just like a desert in run the rain. Thinking of everything but the goal. Like, I mean, the second goal, like Villa just held Bournemouth off all half, I thought. I thought we just held them at arm's length, just took control of the game. Pau Torres at the ball, at the back playing it around. Consa, so composed, so good, winning fights, winning challenges, so composed at the back. We could have scored more, honestly. Could have scored 4 or 5 today. Anyway, the second goal, my word. We play it around at the back. Pau Torres, as he always does, gets forward. Lovely ball into Morgan Rogers. Rogers turning, and that pass to Watkins. Sensational. And then Watkins beats his man, and what a pass to Moussa Diaby. What a run from Moussa Diaby. Your front two working together like that, having an understanding like that. Mama bloody mia. I mean, what a goal it was. Tore Bournemouth apart. Tore them apart. And then you basically dominated the rest of the half. You want us to get a third because then Semenyo comes on, who's going to play for a Champions League team one day. And I think he showed signs again today of what a sensation he is. That moment he cut in, took a shot, beat two of our men. There were a couple of occasions, again at the end, where we had the ball off the line from Pau Torres, from Enes Uno, I think his name is. And that all came from Semenyo from deep, bursting forward. That man is a brilliant player. Inter Milan, AC Milan, Barcelona, something like that. I think he's quality. I think absolutely quality. Anyway, aside from that, third goal, we had to get it in case, and we got it. And again, my bloody Nora. The work from OLLIE Watkins for that. back to goal, turns, ball into Diaby. Was it Rogers? But Diaby touches it, takes a touch. Lovely ball then into Watkins. Watkins with the perfect run, cross goal, and Bailey at the back post comes in for his 10th goal of the season, or 10th Premier League goal of the season. The understanding between our front players today. Bailey deserved a goal. Diaby deserved a goal. Rogers deserved a goal. Watkins bloody deserves player of the season, Premier League player of the season, because that's what he is. Could have been 4 or 5. That was amazing. This team, what they've done in the last week and a half, was magical. Gandalf magic. Please like and subscribe. Please. I mean, let me know down below in the comments what you think about Aston Villa. Let me know what you thought of that bloody amazing performance. This amazing team. Still games to go. Chelsea next week. Let's go slap them about. Let's go teach them a lesson. Like the Rock to Cody Rose, the crybaby. Let's go sort them out. Games to go. Tottenham still have 2 games in hand. Far to go, but bloody hell. The Champions League music's intensifying. What a season. What a team. Up the mighty Villa.